first and foremost, Super Tuesday. What happened? As expected, Trump and Hillary grabbed them up, most of the delegates. This is really interesting when we know that the club likes to put stuff in movies and, like give us a hint as to what's going to happen in the future. And one of those hints was from 16 roughly years ago? The Simpsons episode with Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton running for president. How could a cartoon know this? Out of all the people in the country, how would it know? Clinton and Trump. And again, I mentioned something similar to this before, and there's only two ways this can happen. And only two ways. And I'll start with the most absurd. Time travel technology. Okay? Or, the only other thing, it was well planned way back then, and they're both playing us. It's the only other choice. Whoever's deciding these elections and who's going to be president, who's going to back them, is setting these people up. Not even setting them up, because you can't just say, well, I'm going to ask Trump to run as president in 2016. 16 years ago. And hope he says yes. You have to know he's going to say yes and Hillary's going to say yes, and it's going to be exactly when they need to go. Which would imply they both know about it. And they're just doing their job. Now, the interesting thing about that is, man, if that's the case, the mainstream media, everybody, mainstream anything, is sure as hell attacking Trump quite viciously. That wouldn't be necessary if they're both playing their game and they know who's going to win, and I'm just going to pretend to, So then we have to revisit my first choice, my first option. Time travel technology. And I want to tell you why. I know it sounds absurd, but why it might be possible. You know that lady that always shows up at these false, and I'm not even going to say false flag shootings, because some of them may not have been false flag or hoax shootings. We know some of them were. We could tell. We could see the editing, and we can see the Hollywood-esque of it, and we can tell. But not all. And there was something I watched the other day. I wish I could remember. I'd send you a link to it. And it showed her again. And it's like, the Oregon shootings. She was there again. And once again, as this lady is usually shown to be in these videos, she's being interviewed by some news channel. Every time we see this woman, she's being interviewed. She changes the way she looks just slightly. Same voice, it's the same lady. So I thought to myself, that was the last time I said, man, what the hell is she doing there? Because that didn't appear to be a false flag hoax at all, now did it? The Oregon shooting. And I'm talking about the Clive Bundy and those guys, they're being brought up on charges. They took over the Maher federal land, whatever the hell the facility was. They were staked out. The guy got out, got shot in the head and killed. You saw it on live TV, essentially, right? I said, what the hell? Hold on, why is she there again? How would she know when to be there again, right? And her thoughts are, because again, if she's a paid shill, so to speak, you would think she would be helping push the government side of the story. And in this interview, she's talking about how, kind of siding with the protesters or whatever, about, government land grab and reach and this and that, and the people are wanting their land back and stuff like that. And I'm like, what did she just say? But it's definitely her again. And then as I'm watching this, that's when it hit my, popped into my mind. I said, if by chance time travel technology is possible in the future, or even nowadays, whatever, let's just say the future, 50 years from now, and this lady in the year, let's just say round off and say 2050, the technology is available, maybe she works at a company that makes some device or whatever it may be, and she's looking back at some future history, past tense events, and saying, man, I'd like to be at some of these there. So she knows where to be at the right time, shows up, somehow miraculously gets on TV every single time. Now, if you knew where the news people were, you'd be able to make sure you're right there at the right time. Again, that's the most absurd, crazy, ridiculous thing that I can come up with. That even makes sense. That actually does make sense. But it's still absurd. The other one, which isn't so absurd, but still might seem absurd if your mind is still that you believe in elections and results and machines and, voting machines, then that might also be absurd, which is to say, well, Trump and Clinton are just doing what they're supposed to be doing right now, and the next president has already been selected and decided. They're just giving you a big entertaining show. That's more believable than freaking time travel story. Yet, both could be true, technically speaking. And when Ben Rich, head of the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works division in the early 90s, or maybe it was 93-ish time frame, comes out and says, we have the technology to take E.T. home, but it's going to take an act of God to get this kind of thing released to the public. Technology. And imagine what kind of great things we could do with that technology. Why do I feel like there's 100 freaking eyelashes in my eye as I'm trying to do this video right now? Oh, I know why. Time travel technology. Some little miniature me is scratching myself in the eye. No? Oh, okay, just checking. So anyways, it doesn't make sense how this lady shows up everywhere, but it does make sense that, well, I shouldn't say it does make sense, but let's just say it's crazy that the Simpsons episode from the year 2000, I believe it was 2000, shows Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton running for president. When this whole time, Donald Trump said he pretty much would never run for president. And only one time, and it was in the 80s, I think, where he said to Oprah, unless things got really, really bad in this country, I'll never run. No, I won't. I wouldn't do it. Well, maybe if things got really, really bad, then I might, but only time he ever really said that. So the Simpsons episode is going to create, keeping in mind, for him from the 1980s, Hillary Clinton against Trump. Now let's look back at past presidents. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen a female, like ever, as the president of the United States of America. And unless I skipped over some woman who looks like a beastly man, I have to say I don't believe there's ever been a woman president. So why would any Simpsons or anything refer to a woman? You could have put anybody against Trump in the Simpsons episode. You could have got T. Boone Pickens. I mean, you could have had Al Gore. There's so many choices that would have even made more sense. But not Hillary Clinton. Oh, sure, her husband was just recently president, right? Year 2000. Old Billary. Well, that's actually her, Billary. Old Bill William Clinton. So, you have him, but why would they choose his wife all of a sudden to go against Trump? It wouldn't make sense. I'd be like, well, how about Ronald Reagan? Big public figure back in those days, in the 80s, right? Why not have Miss Reagan, Nancy Reagan, against Trump, right? It just doesn't make sense. What only makes sense to me is that this whole thing is a sham on all of us. Yet, if it is, why is the media really viciously attacking Trump every time you turn on the damn TV? That doesn't make sense. Unless even the media isn't aware of this game. And they're just, quote unquote, doing their job. I don't buy it, though, because the media is told what to do, what to say, what to run by the powers that be. So that doesn't make sense. It's, honestly, I'm trying to come up with, I'm grasping at straws right now of how to make sense of all this. But in any case, I think all of I feel like it's always rigged, It's always rigged. Your votes are absolutely not going to count. It won't matter. But I guess it's good news that it appears Donald, may grab this thing. Mr. Trump against Billary. But I'm pretty sure I didn't see Donald Trump on the front cover of the Economist magazine. Excuse me. And absolutely saw Hillary Clinton at the front of the pack of people in that magazine, on that magazine cover. Which, again, should be telling us all who's going to win. If Lindsey Williams can say that the Muslim Brotherhood is going to be given the Middle Eastern countries, starting with Egypt, then Yemen, then Libya, then Syria, in 4 to 5 months from the time he said it, around October 2010, and I did a video on it, still available today. And then 4 and 5 months happens, and the Muslim Brotherhood, there's a big overthrowing event, social media uproar, and people in the streets of Egypt, and they're going to have a democratic election, and lo and behold, there's a Muslim Brotherhood candidate, first time, against an Egyptian man. Oh. Well, I'm sure the people would vote for their own kind. Right? Why would they vote for this Muslim Brotherhood guy? Guess what the election results were? 51-49. Maybe we'll get him next time. But the people realize very quickly, you're a fraud, and we're overthrowing you. And not only that, we're going to now kill 100 of you and your supporters, Muslim Brotherhood guys, for destabilizing our country. And they quickly overthrew him. Well, I say quickly, within a year's time or so. Then they went to Yemen, same thing happened. Then they went to Libya, got Gaddafi, same thing happened. They didn't have to have a vote there, but in Egypt they did. Which means, again, if he said the Muslim Brotherhood would get every one of these countries, and they did, now we're stuck in Syria, right? Syria hasn't had that happen yet, now that Russia stepped in especially and put a stop to it. But nonetheless, the 3 other ones were spot on. And in the exact order he said. So how could they get a vote that's 51-49%? Because they control it all, they run it all. That's how. I'm sure they use the same equipment they use in America. George Soros owns a bunch of those voting machines, by the way. I wonder if he would have an interest at all in rigging the elections. So, anyways, I can't wait to see around November how this really goes down. Take care.